I have something very important to share with my dearest Homo sapien companions, which are on the planet right now. I am on my spiritual path. I am a woman. I am on my spiritual path. And I'm asking you, why is it so difficult for me to walk my path? Why is it such a big thing for me to walk my spiritual path? And why there are no videos on the struggle of women who choose a spiritual path, but she is not, liked. She is, completely, hated for being herself. Why there are no movies like that in Bollywood? We have Fevicol, we have Chikni Chameli, we have Sheila Ki Jawani, we have all these kind of representations of women, one kind of representation of women, which is also fine. But why we do not have any representation of the struggle of a woman who chooses a spiritual path? Why there is no movie around Mira ever? Why there hasn't been any movie around Mira ever? You know, why? I'm asking you all, why? This just makes me so angry that there is, you know, एक तो वैसे ही society doesn't like it that you are walking a spiritual path. They just don't like it. They're like, what? She's doing her own thing. How can she do her own thing? She needs to come. She needs to, do this. She needs to do that. She needs to have kids. She needs to do, she needs to marry and blah, blah, blah. And she will if she wants to, right? But and why do people think that you I have no, people have some, I get it that people have made wrong decisions, and, people are traumatized to some extent. People have made wrong decisions, many children, they left homes in the name of spirituality, and that is a completely wrong picture of what real spirituality is. I do get that. And it traumatizes, people. I do get that idea. I do get that idea. But then there are people who do not leave the responsibilities, who are, very sincerely wants to walk a spiritual path, without doing away with the responsibilities, but they are not let in. Now, why is that? Because one thing is that somehow you're a woman, and somehow society has idea of woman that she doesn't have her own brain, and she cannot have her own brain. Usually she is seen as somebody who can be emotionally manipulated. She is always influenced, she is emotionally manipulated, she doesn't have her own brain. How can she walk a spiritual path? How can she must be she must be influenced by some fake guru. She must be influenced by somebody on this path, or maybe she's just depressed, that is why she's choosing it. I have no idea why people think, like, I really want to clear this out. Spirituality is no different than, my friends have asked me, you're not gonna party after you get into spirituality, you've gotten into depression, we've lost you forever, you're not gonna do this, do that. Ugh. There's so misconceptions around spirituality, and just makes me so angry, so angry, so angry. And I'm just here, to ask you all, isn't it my anger very justified? And especially want women to really, if you really feel that, if I can really relate to the woman who are also on the spiritual path, you know, please comment down below. Let me know. Do you also feel that anger that I kind of feel? It is such a mess. A society is such a mess. We have all kinds of narratives in our head around women. Like, she doesn't have her own brain. She's always influenced. She's always emotionally manipulated. And women have this really image in the society. But women are, women are, I know we had some tough time. Women had some tough time before. But things are shifting, things are changing. She does have her own brain. She can make her own choices. Stop thinking that she is, always taken in by others' influence. Okay, stop thinking that. Stop making her feel that. okay? And stop thinking that spirituality is different. Then, is it's just completely a new thing, and it's just, it's like a new subject that you add. How schools have subject math, science, ST, like school were dumbos. I'm telling you this, school were dumbos. Why will you teach math, science, English separately? It just made no sense. They're all supposed to come together. And that's literally a blunder we are doing to our children, okay? And on top of that, you know we also think spirituality is just some one different subject that you add into your life, like you meditate. I swear, I've been on my path of spirituality for 7 8 years and never meditated. After my spiritual awakening, I still started meditating, but I never meditated for 7 8 years. All I was doing it, I was, listening to, the content that made sense to me, okay, that, made me navigate my path for 7 8 years, for the beginning of my 7 8 years, okay, when I really consciously started spirituality. So there are a whole lot of myths around spirituality, okay, and that too, a woman practicing spiritual path, or on the practicing spirituality, or she's on the spiritual path, there's again a hell lot of stereotypes attached to it, biases attached to it. So I just really want to come here and speak up on that. And trust me, it just makes me so angry. I've never felt this kind of anger ever before my entire life. And yes, this is also helping me on my spiritual path. I do get it. It's trying to, I do have to, with all the anger in my heart, I do have to respect, the at people who are at their level of consciousness. I do have to respect that, and I completely respect the level of consciousness that they are at. Okay, I mean, I'm trying to, I'm really trying to, but but yes, I do have to, respect their level of consciousness as well, and have patience. And this is teaching me a whole lot of patience. This is teaching me my own triggers, and this is teaching me how to contain my own energy, which is coming out in the form of anger, and I'm learning a lot from this. I do get it, but I still wanted to post it. I still wanted, to reach to my human friends and tell them that what the F is going on in our society. I really wanted to reach you out and ask you why there are the, the only movie I remember that I ever saw, a woman practicing spirituality was like a Hollywood movie, and that was Eat, Pray, Love. Okay. And, you know, but women who's, let's say, who's on an extreme spiritual path, who's making extreme spiritual choices, we don't have such movies. Like I think Mira was like, Mira like had a Mira, she had a very, um very different, very different, very, little, I guess she was very extreme on the path. We don't have movies like that, you know and in a Hollywood movie, um, it wasn't really a struggle, okay, like women really face struggles, okay, when they take up spiritual path, okay, because it is, because what really happens is many fears get in, okay, people start looking at, oh my god, she is doing her own thing, हमें डर लग रहा है, she cannot do this, okay, like people around you, they throw their fears at you, okay, like you have worked on your fears, okay. I don't know, एक तो बहुत misconceptions are around spirituality. People think that spirituality is about igniting your powers, opening your third eye, awakening your kundalini and whatnot, and maybe this is happening on your spiritual path, but the life is like, spirituality is so much more. Like it is just nothing. Spiritual powers are nothing. Even in Hindu mythology, only Rakshasas were, or Asuras, Rakshasas, demons, they were the ones who were, focused on, gaining powers, spiritual powers. They were the ones, they were like, I would want to be, immortal, and they would ask a boon from a god. They were the ones. So spiritual powers is, not a big deal, Okay, and spirituality is not about opening a third eye or awakening a kundali. Spirituality is about the more and more I have done it, you know, like awakening your third eye or awakening your kundali cannot be your end goal. Okay, it might just happen. Okay, but what I have, you have to just work on your purity. You have to work on your fears, and trust me, I had a whole lot of fears, whole lot of fears. I worked through them. I came on a path, and now I have to, take in other people's karma. Now I have to take in other people's fear. You know, what is that? What is that? And why there is no movie around it? Why there is no awareness around it in our society? Why there is so much judgment? People think that, people think that, no, nobody is like, taken spirituality, you must be in depression. You just don't want to do anything with life. You're just lazy. That is why you're doing spirituality. Come on. It is so sacred, first of all, that a wish of enlightenment, or a wish or desire to move beyond you or to merge with God has even arisen in you, with so much maya out in the world. Okay, with all those Chikni Chameli songs and Sheila Ki Jawani songs, you know so much maya out in the world, that desire arises in you. I mean, it arises in you, and we have all your, especially your close ones, coming on to you and telling you how you need to comply with their fears. This makes me so angry, so angry. And I look at everyone, when you're more awakened, you look at everyone, and you are like, this person would have done this person would have done this should stand for me, this person should. And yes, it is teaching me a whole lot of patience, it is helping me on my spiritual journey, and also making me humble, in a sense that at some point of time I was also that unaware person. I was also at some level of consciousness, but God helped me through that. God kept all the patience with me through that, and I am also supposed to keep all the patience through that. But that doesn't change the fact that we need more awareness of this sort in our society, right? And that's why I'm making this video. And like, I'm done with all women falling in love in the movies, and I'm just done with it. Please, we need some real content. Like, watch our lives, see our lives, you know and there are women who are struggling out there. One thing is that spiritual, taking up a spiritual path in itself is, society is very scared of. Even a man takes it, even a woman takes it, they're very scared of it. Okay, because everybody thinks that, um, as everybody thinks that, and they have their own judgments, they have their own fears, and they have their own misconceptions of spirituality. These people have never, they don't know the S about spirituality, and they have put all kinds of misconceptions about it. They never try to search themselves, they never try to expand themselves, and they have all kinds of judgments on spirituality, and those judgments, they throw it at you. Those fears is going to throw it at you, and on top of that, being a woman walking a spiritual path, they don't get it. Society doesn't get it. Society always think that woman falls for a man because she is emotionally manipulated. Woman falls for spirituality because she is emotionally manipulated by a fake guru. Woman falls for falls for a job, for a career, because she's a gold digger. मतलब एक gold, one thing is, she becomes intelligent, when it comes to marrying a man with wealth. I don't know, there are whole kind of judgments around, women, and there always will be. They will say that you have brains, when they see you marrying a rich man, and they will tell you that you don't have brains when they see you making your own choices. So society does their own thing, and it's just so stupid and just so silly. But yeah, I think this needs to be changed. This truly needs to be changed, and there needs to be more awareness around it. And I hope I'm not forgetting anything. But yeah, I just really wanted to make this point that, yeah, this thing needs to be there. And yes, I mean, I mean, yes, I totally get the idea that, in society, people are at their level of consciousness, and yeah, I do have to respect their level of consciousness, because when I was on my spiritual path, even God respected that level of consciousness. And I was somebody who had a lot of fears, and I mean, I was fearful of walking the spiritual path. I was also, fearful of making the choice when nobody around me was doing that. But I worked on my fear, and but people who have not worked on their fears ever, who have not worked on their insecurities ever, who have not done any work on themselves, when they judge you, they come onto your path, that is wrong, and that needs to be changed, and at least we need to be aware of that. And I just so much wanted to make this video around that. Yeah. Share this video, especially with your, women friends, or your partners, who are struggling because they have made a choice like that in life, and who are genuinely walking a spiritual path. And yeah, women were started see, and I swear I wouldn't have been this confident about my path until I started seeing my results. When I started seeing my results, I think that's exactly when I got the confidence to do it. That's when I got the confidence and the clarity that, no, this is what I want to do, I'm doing good in it, and it's working for me. And somehow, there are if you're earning so I left my job. Like 2 years ago. Also, there is this one misconception in society that, if you are earning, you are protective for the ecosystem. If you are earning, you are, yes, you are productive, you are useful for the ecosystem, otherwise you're not. Let me tell you one thing. A person who is sincerely on the path, you know, I know there are I know there are all kinds of people out there. There are people out there who are I know, yeah. There are all kinds of people out there, and you're going to find people who are not on the spiritual path really, but whatever. So, or they have just told themselves that they are on a spiritual path, but they are not. They are just living a lie. I get it. But let me tell you, a person who is sincerely on a spiritual path, you know, then there is nothing more useful for a society like that. A person who is sincerely on a spiritual path, if he works on her, if he or she works on himself or herself, and then the energy, if of a person, a spiritual person, when they clarify their energy, when they purify their energy, oh my god, the kind of impact, the energetic impact it is going to have on the people around him or her, or on the society, is totally priceless. you know so please don't stop. People who are sincerely on the spiritual path, let them. Their intuition is guiding them, their God is guiding them. Please don't let any of your fears come in between. Let them let them find their own path, let them do their own mistakes, because they do have the integrity, and that the responsibility and the onus is on them. They do understand, they do are at the level of consciousness, they do understand the onus and the responsibility is on them. And you know what, they have come to a point where their trust is restored, the surrender in the universe is restored. I was somebody who has lot of fears, and I had to work through that. And my surrender and my trust in God is restored. And now I know that my responsibility is actually with him, with Shiva, with my God, with my higher self. So yeah. So I just so much wanted to make this video. I really wanted, you know, yeah. And it's going to make you so angry that, you know, all your, you know, expectations are going to trigger all your, you know, you're going to see a whole lot of truth, and all your expectations are going to trigger, you know, your, and, you know, and hence it would trigger your anger and everything. But it's also time for you to work on yourself again. It's again an opportunity for you to work on yourself. Plus, I feel that it's also an opportunity for you, you know, to take your responsibility of yourself. Plus, it's also an opportunity for you, you know, to make sure that, you know, your story reaches out to people, you know, because there might be somebody out there who's struggling with it, or there might be somebody out there who is making that somebody else struggle. So maybe their misconceptions can get cleared through this video. Thank you for watching.